In Genesis chapter 1, the story goes a little bit something like this. After God creates the heavens and the earth and the water and the sky, he creates Adam and Eve. And Adam and Eve are in the Garden of Eden, and they commit a sin. Eventually they commit a sin. Eve eats of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil because of the serpent, and then, of course, Adam also eats in it, and they get cast out of the Garden of Eden. The point of this video is to go into that story and extract, okay, what was the first sin? How was it organized so that they were going to eat from that tree? What was the point in even adding the tree into the garden in the first place? And more importantly than any other of the talking points is, how do we redeem ourselves as humans from that sin that we've committed in our hearts because of Adam and Eve? So the first thing is, again, what was the sin? What exactly was it? Well, first, at a very basic level, the sin was disobeying God. God told Adam and Eve, do not partake in or eat in the fruit of the tree of the good and evil. And you know what they did? They did it, right? So not only was it a direct sin, but it was also a direct disobeying of God, which, is a sin, right? And you can see that a lot in the way that we act today. But more importantly, what exactly was this? It wasn't only that disobeying God, but it was also a way of Adam and Eve saying, we're going to do it our way, right? We're going to have it our way. When the devil tempts us, he tempts us to take shortcuts, right? So when we look at the story of the Garden of Eden, we see that the tree is inside of the Garden of Eden. Why would it be there? And that's because God was creating man in his image. And so we can only assume that eventually God was going to allow Adam and Eve to partake in that fruit and be like him. But the devil was like, no, you can have it now. You can have that knowledge now and you won't die. Right? So they did have that knowledge, and God punished them. And they took shortcuts. And you see that in today's society. No one is patient anymore. Just like Adam and Eve weren't patient to get this fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Right? We're not patient in the things that we do. We have to have it now all the time. And that can sometimes come at a cost of disobeying God. And most people are willing to do that. And that's not the right thing to do. So, what was the second? The second thing was, more importantly than us saying we're going to do it our way, well, what is our way? Our way is chaos. Our way is sadness. It's heartbreak. It's despair. It's anger. It's lust. It's war. Clearly, that's what's going on now that we've said we're going to have it our way. So God allowed Adam and Eve to have it their way. And what happens? The world descends into chaos because the only perfect way is God's way. And we've learned that over time. So when we say that we're going to do it our way, we're actually saying we're going to have it our way, which is chaos. We're going to have it our way, which is despair, which is sorrow. But when we look at God's way, God's will, when we summon the Holy Spirit inside of us and we say, God, allow your will to be, conspire out of me to affect the world around me. Use me as a tool for your goodness. That's how we get joy in our lives. That's how we get fulfillment. We use the goodness that God gives us through the Holy Spirit. And so the way that we redeem ourselves is not to say we're going to do it our way like Adam and Eve did. Instead, it's to say, God, we submit to you, your will over everything. That's the way that we redeem ourselves. Not only in today's society, but throughout all time. That was the only way to redeem ourselves, is saying, God, I submit to you. So make it a priority in your life to submit to God's will. Summon the Holy Spirit inside of yourself, Jesus's and God's will inside of yourself, and say, God, I am a tool of your goodness.